Hello and welcome everyone. There you go. You finally decided to take the plunge and dive into dropshipping. And you're absolutely right, because this business can bring in big profits for you, with very little investment on your part. But it's still necessary to avoid rookie mistakes, which could significantly harm your profitability, or even sound the death knell for your small business. So, if you want to succeed in your project and start making money, stay focused until the end, because here are the 10 dropshipping mistakes to avoid in 2024. Error number 1. Lack of knowledge about your products. All the great salespeople in the world have one thing in common. They are all incredibly knowledgeable about the products they want to sell you, and no matter what question you might ask them, they will always have a convincing answer. Having a good understanding of your merchandise is not only a sales trigger, but it also motivates the customer or prospect to make a purchase. But the goal here is not to memorize the characteristics of your product, to regurgitate them like a parrot every time. It's more about having a perfect mastery of your product, as well as everything related to its final use. You should even be able to position yourself against the competition and to understand everything related to your product, whether directly or indirectly. In essence, it's like conducting a complete market study before launching each product. It's meticulous work and rather tedious if you have a lot of products in your catalog, but it will nevertheless allow you to increase your sales and position yourself very well compared to your potential competitors. Error number 2. Selling copyrighted products. This is perhaps the fatal mistake for any dropshipping project, as it can literally land you in front of the judges. Indeed, offering items protected by copyright or registered trademarks in your store is illegal, and any violator exposes themselves to legal action. So, if you thought you could sell Disney or Marvel branded products or any other famous franchise, you should first obtain a license. And to be honest with you, the price of this license sometimes borders on indecency, especially when it comes to well-known brands. You could end up paying tens of thousands of euros just to legally have the right to sell these items, and this, of course, without any guarantee of sales. So if your items unfortunately don't sell as expected, you will have paid for a license for nothing. And if you ever decide to bypass the law and start selling products without an official license, you may bitterly regret it. Not only will your store be blocked, but you will also incur a very heavy fine, as the judges in the commercial court do not joke around with these kinds of matters. Error number 3. Having unrealistic expectations. One of the most common mistakes in dropshipping for beginners is to believe that success is instantaneous and that they will become millionaires just before lunchtime. We've all heard of someone who dove into dropshipping and overnight started rolling in money. These kinds of stories abound on the internet and social media, constantly shared by young influencers eager to create a buzz. But beware, because the truth is, like any other business project, success is a gradual process that requires considerable effort and daily motivation. Don't think that you'll rake in huge profits right from the start, and above all, keep in mind that nothing is immediate in life, except death itself. With this philosophy, you can truly reach your goals because your expectations will be much more realistic, and you won't be frustrated if your results don't skyrocket instantly like a rocket. Consider dropshipping not as a sprint but rather as a very long marathon where you should conserve your strength and breath if you want to reach the finish line. The illustrious Jean de La Fontaine illustrated this fact so well in the moral of his fable, The Hare and the Tortoise. It is useless to run. You must start on time. Error number 4. Neglecting social media. Here's a classic rookie mistake because in the rush and excitement of the early days, we often overlook the essentials. Indeed, neglecting social media platforms in your dropshipping operation is like opening a refrigerator factory at the North Pole. It makes no sense. How could you miss out on such a promising opportunity when various studies have shown that over 50% of internet users aged 16 to 24 regularly use social media in their brand research? Thanks to Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok, dropshipping sellers of all kinds manage to establish a presence and do business all day long. By promoting your store on these platforms, you won't be idle for sure, as you will literally have access to billions of users worldwide. Of course, you don't have the capabilities or ambitions to manage such a market, with all the infrastructure and resources it entails, at least not yet. However, it will still allow you to have a well-stocked showcase close to your potential customers, those you have identified in advance and whom you have taken the trouble to target as best as possible. Error number 5. Poor management of the return policy. This mistake may not be as obvious because you might not necessarily expect to deal with product returns when you're just starting out in sales. However, no merchandise is perfect, and you will always have customers who, for one reason or another, are dissatisfied with the product. Therefore, you should anticipate this before diving into dropshipping and plan for return policies that are effective, clear, and precise. Because even if it's your supplier who is supposed to handle the return of an item, remember that in the eyes of the customer, it's you who bears the responsibility. If your business partner doesn't handle returns properly, it's your own reputation and business that will suffer. Statistically speaking, over 60% of buyers will carefully examine the return policy before making their purchases. And 62.58% of online buyers have expectations that they consider legitimate, such as retailers offering them a return window of at least 1 month following the purchase. So, you should pay close attention to the return policy of your partner suppliers, and in some cases, be prepared to handle the return of an item yourself if you want to provide an excellent shopping experience for your customers. Error number 6. Underestimating delivery times and costs. Nobody likes to be delivered 2 months late, so don't neglect delivery times for your items, as well as the associated costs. This is truly a rookie mistake to avoid at all costs because nothing could harm your dropshipping business more than prolonged delivery times or exorbitant shipping rates. To avoid this, you should seek reliable suppliers who meticulously adhere to their delivery times and are completely transparent regarding their shipping costs. Of course, unforeseen events can always occur, especially when your suppliers are located on the other side of the world. That's why you should opt for partners with distribution centers around the globe to always be serviced by the nearest point. But despite your best efforts, an incident will inevitably occur sooner or later, and it will be up to you to try to cushion the blow, such as by directly contacting your customers to reassure them and explain the situation. By acting in this manner, you will most certainly succeed in strengthening your trust capital with your customers and maintaining a privileged relationship with them. Error number 7. Neglecting the importance of images. If there's one aspect you should never neglect in your dropshipping store, it's the images of the items you sell. It's not just about hastily snapping photos of your products, but rather trying to enhance them and make them much more attractive to your customers. To do this, you should capture high-quality images, ideally in high definition, and take care to use lighting to your advantage. Don't worry, you don't really need to be a professional photographer to take good photos. All you need is a good camera and a little bit of focus. Most smartphones currently sold in stores will suffice, and all you'll need to do is find the right angle. And above all, keep in mind that 75% of online buyers rely almost exclusively on product images to decide whether to buy them or not. Error number 8. Offering too many products. This may seem far from being a mistake, as one might think that the more offers you have, the more demand you'll attract, but it's not the case. Having an overly stocked catalog is more about scattering than anything else because it could potentially confuse your customers, who won't really understand what your store is all about. On the other hand, by specializing in a range of products or in a well-defined sector, you bring more coherence and clarity to your store. And if you don't really want to be limited to a particular niche, you can always categorize your catalogs by theme, which will be clearer and easier for a customer to navigate. Error number 9. Ignoring your customers' feedback. It may seem trivial, but nonetheless, it's a serious mistake to ignore your customers' feedback. Your customers' comments provide you with a wealth of information about their real needs and expectations, as well as their impressions of your product. This approach is so crucial that you should even take a little initiative and encourage your customers to speak up if they aren't very vocal, through surveys or personalized messages that you address directly to them. Error number 10. Neglecting mobile optimization. Serious studies have shown that over 70% of internet users make their purchases directly from their smartphones. Starting from this point, it would be truly foolish to neglect optimizing your store for mobile display. Therefore, you should ensure that your website has a responsive design that adapts perfectly to different screen sizes. Also, consider simplifying the payment process as much as possible by integrating mobile payment options if possible. And above all, don't forget to include large, clearly visible tabs to provide maximum comfort for your buyers.